So that was the summary of the Ars Technica article. And there's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot of good information that's packed into this article, and I mean, and there's a lot of breaking things down so that things make sense. I mean, let's just one of the things that was mentioned in the summary was the lofty goals. I mean, right there alone is a very this whole 100 million player bullshit. That is a highly lofty goal. And for those that don't understand that, allow me to kind of break this down for you, because I was looking up some facts while what was going on. Let's take what do you think is one of the most top-selling game franchises that exists ever? I'll give you a hint. The next one is coming out next year, and it's a milestone that I've said that these guys either need to beat or kind of get in along with the wake later on thereafter. Tom, would you like to take a guess as to what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what game is it, Ray. I have no idea.
That game is called Grand Theft Auto.
Really?
Now here's a funny thing. Now let's look at some numbers here real quick. Peak concurrent copies sold for Grand Theft Auto 5. Okay, this is Grand Theft Auto Legacy Edition, not the Enhanced Edition, because you can't really put those figures together because that would double the figures over, right? Because essentially, if you bought the Legacy version, you got the Enhanced Edition for free. So we can't look at the player count for Enhanced. We can look at the peak for the concurrent, but we'll get to that here in a second. Now, how many copies of Grand Theft Auto Legacy do you think was sold worldwide throughout the entirety of its lifetime? Tom, take a guess.
I actually have no idea. I have no idea because the GTA was been selling the best-selling game every fucking year in the top 5 all the time. So I have no idea.
So it had to have sold well over 100 million copies, right?
Yep.
About 215 million copies throughout the course of its lifetime.
Since 2013?
Since its launch in 2013.
Yeah, okay, 15. I remember the year. Okay, 13.
Yeah, that's okay. Now, that is 10 years. 10 years that game has had to cook to sell 215 million fucking copies. Android Wilson wants the next Battlefield title to hit half of that at launch.
No, the article said in the timeline.
Over the course of its life?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, does he think this game is going to live for 10 years? Because again, Grand Theft Auto Online is one of the main reasons why that game has sold the copies that it had. Let's not mince words here, and let's not fuck around, and let's not lie to ourselves here. One of the big reasons, and you can tell in the Steam achievements, multiplayer gets more focus in that game than the single player did. And the ironic thing about that is Grand Theft Auto has always traditionally been a fucking single player franchise. So this is the level of stupidity that I see out of this comment. Oh, Battlefield's got to hit 100 million players over the course of its life. It ain't happening, bro. Never. Not in your wildest fucking imagination. Because what do you think was the most popular, what would you think was the most sold Battlefield title out of all of it? Throw me a title real quick, Tom.
It's Battlefield 3.
Let's Battlefield 3?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Second is Battlefield 1. Battlefield 3 is still the best Battlefield game they have. Battlefield 1 came close.
Okay.
I don't know what's the third one.
of...
Probably Battlefield 4, I'm guessing.
Would you like to guess how many were sold?
Battlefield 3 was 30, I think. Battlefield 1 was 20. Am I close?
15 million.
Battlefield 3?
15 million.
I read someone that was a 30 million.
These might be first month sales figures because maybe, yeah. Here's the thing. This has it summarized as Battlefield 1943 selling 1.5 million copies, Battlefield Bad Company 2 selling 9 million plus copies, Battlefield 3 selling 15 million. 4 and Hardline don't seem to have numbers for this one, so let's this is revenue. Where is the actual sales figures? 25 million people played Battlefield 1.
Yeah,
so a quarter of that.
I still know that Battlefield 3 is still the best-selling game.
But it didn't hit no 100 million copies sold, is the point that I'm getting at.
All right, so
no fucking title in this franchise has ever hit 100 million copies. So, Mr. Wilson, hey, Mr. Wilson! Get your head out of your ass, bro. It's never gonna happen.
I might as well go with the hot take now. So, I will say this. And before everyone's gonna lose their shit, post this on Reddit and call me for being an absolute moron, or EA shill, or whatever the case may be, let me just say this. Let me explain. I understand EA in this case. I understand where they're coming from. I understand. Because, honestly, realistically, Battlefield is a joke. I'm sorry, it is. Battlefield is a joke. It's been a joke for the last 5 years minimum. Us hosting a Battlefield-related podcast right now,
kind of a bit of a joke.
It's a joke. We're a joke. I'm sorry, we are a joke. Battlefield as a franchise is a joke. And us hosting a Battlefield-related podcast in this time is a joke. Me making a website for Battlefield 1 podcast is a joke. Why the fuck I'm spending money on a franchise that is a fucking joke? It's a whole big ass joke. So, EA being EA, and if I was in EA position, like if I was Andrew Wilson, and I look at how my most valuable franchise, the juggernaut, the traditional FPS shooter of the whole gaming market, right? I'm supposed to be with the big boys out there. You know, I should be there with Call of Duty, with Fortnite and everything. I'm like, I should be there because we're Battlefield. We deserve the best. And we've been, like, since the original Battlefield 1 podcast days, 2015, you know, this is technically our 84th, 83rd episode? No, 85th.
I stopped counting after COVID, bro.
Well, I was the one making website. I was documenting each bloody episode. In total, we have 85 episodes. And since episode 1, we've been saying, like, Battlefield deserves better. Battlefield deserves to be there with the big boys back in the day, 10 years ago. We're saying that the Battlefield deserves to be there because it has the talent, has the structure, it has everything to be the best FPS shooter in the market. It's supposed to.
It's always had that potential. And that's what's always kind of made it shine amongst everything else. Is that it's just always had that potential, but it just never could quite. There's only been a handful of times where it was able to stand toe to toe, and that was, back in the quote unquote golden days.
Yeah. So, if I'm being Andrew Wilson and I look at this, like, yeah, we need to make some changes, and we need to go ambitious and everything, because look what Epic Games is doing with Fortnite. Look what Activision's doing with Warzone. Look what they're doing. Like, sure, Warzone's not doing well, but that's not the point. 100 million players, right? So we have to specify here, though. 100 million players. Okay, it was hit by 3 games, as far as I know. Well, not counting GTA, but like when it comes to shooters, 3 games managed to achieve that. Maybe 3. So Fortnite, of course, Call of Duty Warzone, and Apex Legends. And maybe PUBG, maybe. I actually don't know. So maybe 4. So 4 shooters that managed to maybe touch that area of like 100 million players. What makes them so like similar to each other, Ray? What makes them similar to each other?
All of those games,
yes.
They have their own individual identity.
But on a technical level, what makes them all similar?
Realistically, at the end of the day, they all share a battle royale component.
Free-to-play element of the game.
And a free-to-play element.
The free-to-play is the catch here. So when EA looks, because I'm pretty sure they looked at Apex, like they looked at their own games and like those games, how's Apex Legends doing? Like, okay, how many players we have here? Okay, how's Warzone doing? Okay, so we can maybe justify, maybe this goal is achievable if all the pieces come together. If all the pieces come together, yes, I think Battlefield can get. It's a hot take.
Real quick, no, PUBG never did hit 100 million. It peaked at 84.
Okay, sure, 84. All right,
but still,
but
that should put shit into
it would be
perspective. More of a perspective.
Yeah. Perspective. 84 million for PUBG. Sure. So EA looked at all these numbers and everything, and if we know that Battlefield can be the top dog in the
Could. Not can.
Could.
Let's differentiate there. It could. It could hit that potential.
It
has that possibility to do it as long as it's managed right. It's allowed the time. And this is shit we've been saying for years.
Yes.
It needs the time to cook. The corporatization of the development side of it needs to go. It needs to stop. Over management, over this whole bullshit of spreadsheet management and all this rest of this and crunching and all the rest of this crap that they're doing to developers nowadays. Hot take real quick. Here's a real hot take for you. Not a lot of people know this. At one point in my life, I actually wanted to be a game developer. Around about the time when we started this podcast. You know what's funny about it? And I actually sat the time, I put my time in, and I actually learned how to do modeling. I was talking to people. I was really pushing in order to get a job in the field, specifically with DICE. You know what's funny, though? The work culture. The constant crunch. That shit does not appease me. I don't do my best work when I'm forced to do it, and I was put into that position in my life. I quit a very, very, very high-paying, lucrative job because of that type of fucking culture. Being forced to work 100 days plus in a row, 12 hours plus at a shift, it ain't fucking fun, kids, and you don't do your best work. I don't give a shit how cocky you are, how long you've been doing a fucking job, or how great you are at it. When you're forced to work 16 to 18 fucking hours a day with minimal sleep, minimal time to eat, minimal down and shit, you do start losing your craftsmanship. You start losing things because this brain, this gray thinking muscle up here, it needs time away from work. It needs to be able to stop. And again, and I don't give a shit how much of a workaholic you think you are, because again, I've been there. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't do your best work. I do my best work when I take my time with it, when I sit down, when I look at a character and I study it, when I look at a ship model and I take my time and I detail it and I think about every little fucking thing that I'm doing. I pre-plan, I post-plan, I think of shit, I think. Management ain't capable of that. Management nowadays wants shareholders demand this so that this number can stay up. We need to keep telling them that these goals are being made. We have to do it in a fucking PowerPoint presentation and lie to everybody at the same time, while at the same time forcing people to work 18 hours plus a fucking day. And then as soon as the product's halfway done or sold or on the fucking market floor, we got like 1,500 people that we can just up and arbitrarily lay off because we don't need them anymore. So,
why you Xbox?
Bye-bye.
Why you Microsoft?
No, this is every fucking studio. All of them do it. But and we want to sit here and go, well, why aren't video games what they used to be? You know what's great? Super Mario wasn't made under crunch.
So we also had a developer that was actually part of this group that article said that they needed like a break from game development, like a mental break and everything. We had a developer on this podcast, episode 22, I think, when we had Kimo on. Kimo explained to me like how he just had to take a break from all this shit because it was too much. Like we had the developer, we literally had the developer from DICE, well, former DICE, talking like, yeah, shit's brutal. Shit's brutal.